Hello, everyone. Long story short, I have something insane for you today. I think I found out the biggest mystery that Boom has been preparing for us all this time. And now I answers to all the major questions you may have to this series. I basically figured out the whole lore of Skibidi Toilets series, and I'm not even joking. And don't ask me how, this is just magic. So if you really want to know where Skibidi Toilets did actually come from, what happened to the whole mankind for real, and how were the hardware heads created, then get your tea and snacks ready and prepare to watch this video to the end because it will simply blow your mind. And this time I mean it. Let's go! And let's start with going back to the mysterious flashback we saw from Camerawoman's perspective, where we could see her and Plungerman in their human forms, and they were in the process of testing out some cryptic project which involves opening the gates. And the purpose of it we didn't know yet. And I've made a pretty interesting theory in my video dedicated to Camerawoman's lore. Specifically that it's possible that all the people seen in the frame are workers of Alpha Hill's laboratory, and this project was probably organized by Boom, the administrator, in order to reach other worlds via this gate, which is in fact a portal. But then I dig down much more and found out so many crazy details that now I have a different perspective on the whole Alpha Hills thing. So what I'm going to tell you right now may actually drive you crazy, so I'll try to explain it step by step. So all this time we were drawn to the idea that Boom is the new administrator of the Alpha Hills Scientific Complex, and the whole activity of this underground laboratory was sponsored by the government of some unknown country. Although in my video about Camerawoman I suggested that it may be USA government due to several links I'm not going to repeat in this video though. But as I rewatched episode 70, I noticed something insane about this cryptic picture. So let me show you this once again. So in this picture, we see Boom dressed like a special agent who's shaking hands with the man that looks exactly like Male 09, only in here he doesn't wear glasses. But other details of his appearance such as hairline and facial features are the same. And they are accompanied by a group of older scientists who used to work in this laboratory before the new administrator's assignment, and they obviously don't look happy about those changes. And all this time, we thought that it was Boom who is the new assigned administrator of the complex, but what if everything is completely different? Now hear me out, buds. What if Boom is actually shaking hands with the new actual administrator of the Alpha Hills complex, who is Male 09? And who's Boom? Then you can ask me. Well, let's read this inscription once again because it's been stated in there that the Alpha Hills laboratory is actually sponsored by government and that the rest of the details shall remain in secrecy. So what if Boom is an actual representative of the governmental forces who was the one to declare about new administrator's assignment, and he was the one to choose Male 09 exactly on that position? And that's why he's not in fact dressed as a scientist, but rather as a corporate agent. And that's why his outfit didn't change throughout the whole series. So now I'm pretty sure that the secret agent, in fact, is not a part of Alpha Hills or Group C at all, and he's actually representing a bigger entity. And there's another detail I noticed. In all the scenes with him throughout the series, he can be noticed standing closer to the agents of the Alliance, but never to Skibidi. Why? And to answer this question, let's talk about the experiment held by Alpha Hills Laboratory. And to not confuse you even more, let me clarify one thing right now. At this point, I support the theory that Alpha Hills experiment and Group C project are not the same, and that they're not working together under the observations of government at all. To say even more, I now think that they're working against each other. And now let me explain everything to you with more detail. Let's start with Boom and Alpha Hills Laboratory first. I noticed how at least 2 scientists from his crew were later used to become prototypes for Skibidi Toilets. This man's head on the very left side of the picture could be later seen on multiple Skibidi Toilets in masses, for instance in episode 68. And of course, take into consideration this Male 09 figure with a tie and without glasses who's shaking hands with the secret agent. I don't really want to dive way too deep into multiverse of beatbox in this video, because I don't think that current Skibidi lore is tied with this old animation project of Boom directly. But let me just remind you that according to this multiverse, Male 07 can have multiple clones, even the evil ones. So what if this Male 07 from the picture, who would later become the administrator of Alpha Hills Complex due to the secret agent's order, is also a clone of original self in this exact universe? Or maybe things are different, and this is a core universe after all, and he's not a clone but original. The most important thing is that no scientists from this picture could be later noticed in the Alliance's forces. And vice versa, no human from Group C later became a Skibidi Toilet. Another detail which bothers me about this photo from episode 70, though, is the absence of Skibidi Scientist. Why wasn't he even featured in this picture considering his importance? I have an idea about why both Skibidi Scientist and G-Man weren't in this highly classified picture, though. It's possible that Skibidi Scientist initially wasn't that big of a fry and used to be just a regular scientist working on a set experiment organized by the administrator and the government. And let me say it clearly, if my theory about the wrong administrator is correct, and the secret agent is a governmental representative after all, then I think that the figure of administrator is just a dummy and all the real power was focused in the hands of the secret agent anyway. Okay, so I believe that the experiment Alpha Hills was working on was intended to enhance the military power of the government the secret agent was a part of. But if in my video about Camerawoman, I suggested that this project was about connecting to other multiverses, then now I changed my point of view when I realized that Group C didn't actually work with Alpha Hills. Now I think that this experiment was focused on combining parts of human bodies with some other objects in order to make them invulnerable to damage or something like this, so that the government would produce super soldiers. And I don't know how, but they didn't manage to mate human bodies with less questionable objects such as weapons or metal cyborg parts, but instead Alpha Hills managed to melt human bodies with toilets. Okay, don't ask me about details on that one because I am sure that Boom could see this in another one of his crazy creative dreams or something. The fact is that the experiment went beyond its initial borders, as it always happens in dark sci-fi movies when government wants to do some real dystopic crap and ruins the whole world in the process. So, the Skibidi virus somehow went out of Alpha Hills' laboratory and started spreading amidst the innocent people, thus turning them into toilets as well. And as I rewatched the whole series for more details, I got something really important too. I noticed how initially the little Skibidi Toilets who used to be innocent citizens didn't even want to fight or destroy anything. They're also scared and really vulnerable. But everything changes after G-Man starts gathering power in the city and giving them all some kind of Skibidi propaganda to follow, which works. And after that, they start fighting with the Alliance fiercely. That's how I realized that it was only bigger Skibidi who were evil since the beginning, because those bigger Skibidi were the ones who worked on Alpha Hills' experiment. And it's possible that G-Man is just a commander, not a scientist, and that's why he wasn't featured in the picture. And speaking of Skibidi Scientist, I believe that he started doing his own thing after the experiment broke free and his plans weren't crossing the secret agent's plans at all. It's possible that the secret agent realized that the experiment went too far and there is a need to do something against it, while Skibidi Scientist got mad and wanted to make the situation even worse. So remember what I said about the secret agent earlier, that he doesn't show up near Skibidi Toilets. That's because Skibidi is a virus, and the secret agent knows it and just keeps a safe distance away so he doesn't get infected. Okay, and now let's talk about Group C, and this will be even crazier than Alpha Hills stuff. So makes me think that they were working against Boom and Alpha Hills? After I figured out the direct connection with the governmental influence, I noticed just a hilarious detail I've never thought of before. Cameras, speakers, TV screen. What do you think of it? That's all parts of mass media, which usually opposed governmental harmful ideas and laws. This may be like a direct metaphor towards the confrontation between Alpha Hills and Group C. But let me say one thing. I believe that Group C was only one of the groups in the major team opposing Alpha Hills, and that there are at least 2 more groups. I am absolutely sure that Group C was responsible for creating Cameramen as means to oppose Skibidi Toilets. And the blue light we saw was another sign of it. Maybe this Gate and Blue Beam project was concentrated on creating Titan Cameraman? And that means that another 2 groups would be representatives for future speakermen and TV men, and their beams would be red and purple. And I believe that all these groups were pursuing one goal: to save the humanity from Skibidi virus and fight Skibidi Toilets. And for that purpose, they decided to create robot-like creatures where the mind of a real person still could be put. And that's how 3 races of the Alliance appeared. And with that, I want to also mention 2 things. First, I often question myself on this channel whether the soldiers of the Alliance robots or humans with blood and flesh. Now, following this theory, I am absolutely sure that they are robots. And secondly, I officially dropped the theory that TV men are traitors. Yeah, guys, you've heard it right. Because according to this new theory, TV men are also vessels for people remaining alive to control them. But how exactly? So I believe that the survived people who weren't touched by Skibidi virus united into one organization to stay away from the disease and fight the Skibidi Toilets to save the Earth, basically. And some of the most talented scientists or inventors in this organization created the concept of hardware heads, the puppets with the head where the mind of a human original owner could be downloaded. So the puppet controlled by a real human who's placed in safety, fights and investigates the world while the real humans are lying somewhere in a hibernation, maybe underground. If you knew such movie as Avatar or a game like Soma, then you will understand exactly what I mean. And here's an even more insane take. What if these robots are acting so emotional seeing when one of them gets destroyed? Because they simply started to forget that they are just robots, and that the real people are placed safely somewhere else. Because in Soma game, robots actually gone mad due to isolation and loneliness, and even started seeing themselves as human being in reflections. What if the Alliance starts losing it after such a long war in pair with Skibidi Toilets? Oh hell guys, that would be just crazy. And if my theory is correct, then Plungerman is really capable of coming back, because it was only his vessel that was destroyed by the secret agent. But the real Dave is safe and sound, so he may return once again, but just in a different body. And by the way, that gave me an idea how the secret agent connected with him at the end of episode 70. So apparently there were no telepathy or black magic or something like that, but instead the secret agent simply connected himself to the Plungerman software. But that obviously wasn't meant to be like that though. So what if there is a human traitor in the Alliance? Maybe it's Human Lucky Cameraman or one of green-suited cameramen who sneakily gave an access for the secret agent to one of their strongest members. And if that's the case, what will happen next, and how the secret agent behaves next? Because after all, he's supposed to confront the Alliance if he was connected to the invention of Skibidi virus. But it seems like his motifs are more complex at this point, and he's not really on anybody's side now. Maybe he's trying to support some kind of balance and turn his past mistakes back. Or maybe he's getting insane as well, even despite he's still human being. This is getting so complicated with each new episode that my head is going dizzy. But I think that this theory I just told you is simply insane. And if Boom himself would know about it, that would be super epic. So be sure to share this theory with your friends, because if in the end of the series I will see this theory coming true, I'll just lose my own head, it seems to me. And if you still don't understand why the Alliance has been destroying Skibidi Toilets since the beginning, I'll explain it to you once again. The only surviving people want to save the Earth from the Skibidi virus, and most likely their plan is to destroy every last one of the Skibidi Toilets. And yes, they're using robots to do it remotely so they don't get infected with the virus. Most likely for better efficiency, they don't control the robot that is cameraman or speakerman through a remote or something. They move their mind into this robot somehow, and now they can fully use the mechanical body to eliminate the virus. And when their goal is accomplished, they can come out of the shelters and start living on their planet again without fear of turning into a Skibidi toilet. Okay, and that was all for today, so be sure to share this video with friends and subscribe to my YouTube and Discord channel not to miss more crazy theories from me. And that was me, ISOTOILET. See ya!